Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I hope you're having a fantastic day. With the shadow of the Erdtree now just on the horizon, it's time to start thinking about brushing up on your Elden Ring skills and knowledge again. And I don't know about you, but because this is such a mammoth game, I've probably forgotten about as much as I've retained over the last 2 years. Therefore, I thought it would be fun to scour through all of my easily missed secrets and discoveries videos and create a best bits compilation for you to test against your own knowledge. If after all this time there are still things that you didn't know about this brilliant and incredibly deep game. For instance, as a little sneak peek into this episode, did you know there is a way to reduce the amount of rot damage you take without even using any items? Or how about the most commonly missed spirit ash in the game? Grab a seat around the bonfire, my fellow Tarnished, and let's jump straight into number 1. We're going to start with the hidden mechanic that I teased in the intro, and this is how you can take significantly reduced damage from Scarlet Rot if you're lacking any kind of cure like Boluses or Flame Cleanse Me. It's a really simple method and one that can be implemented to help you traverse really long unsafe areas such as the Lake of Rot here. If you didn't know, when you get rotted whilst standing in the rot, it will deal more damage to you than if you're standing on land. And you may be thinking, well, obviously I'm not going to get rotted inland, I'm getting rotted because I'm standing in the rot. So all you need to do to pull this off is wait until your rot bar is nearly full and roll. Get the rot all over your body. Now get out of the rot and go and stand on land. Wait for that build up to max out and wait for the Scarlet Rot to take hold. You will now be suffering a lesser version of the Scarlet Rot, and you can use this to your advantage and sprint to your next destination, therefore saving a few of your precious healing flasks. It's obviously not ideal. Ideally go and grab Flame Cleanse Me, but I thought this was a really cool little interaction that probably not many people know about. Those of us that have been playing for a while now, you'll probably notice that sometimes your character is able to run through pools of poison, rivers of rot, even deep lava and water, yet sometimes you're not. And it stumped me for quite some time why this is the case. It's a really simple, really obvious answer, and it makes so much sense. The reason why sometimes you can sprint through rot and poison, etc., and sometimes you can't, is actually a very rare occasion of From Software being nice. Yes, I know, you're not dreaming. From Software can be nice sometimes. Basically, what's happening if you are playing a New Game Plus character, From Software have said, right, you've suffered enough, you've already had to traipse through this rot, you've already had to traipse through this poison, so now your character has made it to New Game Plus, we will give you the ability to just run through it, no matter the depth. And I was like, holy shit, FromSoft are nice sometimes? This was another fact that blew my mind. It took so long to figure out why sometimes my character was able to run and sometimes I was still trudging through and having to use the likes of Quick Step to be able to traverse some of these places. So, now you know. Before we move on to the next tip, a message from today's sponsor, Stunlock Studios. The official release of V Rising is finally here, and to go along with it, check out this awesome trailer.
Your clan calls for you. Rise from your crypt.
And with that, if you can't wait to get stuck in, an extra special thank you to Stunlock for also providing me with a bunch of V Rising keys to give away to you. So stay tuned for details on how to enter. And don't forget, V Rising is out right now on Steam, and the PlayStation 5 version is just around the corner. Check the links in the description below for details on how to get involved right now. Next up, we're going to talk about a way to apply practically any status effect to any enemy using one arrow. The first thing you need to do is come here to Sellia, the Town of Sorcery, and grab the red main painting. Once you've done that, come here to the minor Erdtree in Caelid with the Putrid Avatar near Fort Faroth, and you want to make your way down to where there is an incredibly powerful stone golem. You are supposed to very cautiously jump down the very precarious stone beams and branches jutting out from the mountain. However, you can use this spirit spring and jump all the way down. I ended up having slightly too much momentum here, and I didn't manage to make it all the way down first time, but you can see exactly what was supposed to be achieved, so you can mirror this yourself. When you get down, be careful not to disturb the golem. There is no point killing him. What you're doing is coming to the artist here so you can loot the Rain of Arrows. The Rain of Arrows is insanely powerful, especially against big enemies. This Ash of War can melt the likes of the Fire Giant. You can easily apply rot and poison to him with just 1 or 2 arrows, because every rain of 20 or so arrows only consumes 1. You can use this on the Godskins to put them to sleep with just 1 arrow. You can bleed pretty much everything immediately. The possibilities are limitless with Rain of Arrows. It's such an underused Ash of War, and really helps bows come into their own without having to use Radahn's bow, which is a conversation for another video. That could take Rain of Arrows to a whole other level, but that requires stupidly expensive ammunition, is very limited in ammunition, and requires great arrows. This is much more accessible, much cheaper, and incredibly good at dealing status effects. So give it a go the next time you want to use a ranged build. Next is a fantastic early game helmet that is very easily missable. You will need to farm this, and it does have quite a low drop chance, so ideally any way to raise your discovery is really going to help. The best place to farm is right here just south of the Saintsbridge site of Grace, right near where you first meet Iron Fist Alexander, and you are looking for the Octopus Head. This is obtained by killing the small land octopuses, not the giant ones, so you can ignore the big guy and just run around farming the little guys. There are 2 reasons that this is such a fantastic early game helm. Firstly, as the description says, it has insanely enhanced strike resistance, so it's going to be exceptionally good against any enemies that try and binky bonk you. But even more than that, it sits in a very unique weight class. I believe it's one of only 2 helmets in the game that weigh this much, most others weighing significantly more or significantly less. So it can really help to round out an early game build when you don't have many other options. It's a really good lightweight helm with fantastic stats, and it outclasses anything around this weight level. And what's better is if you are new to this game and if you are farming this early on, then you're going to get a few extra levels out of it as well by killing all the octopuses. They're easy to kill, and it's a very chill farm whilst you're trying to work towards this helmet. Also, fun fact, it's as creepy as hell because it does slosh around as you're wearing it, and nothing in the description suggests that it's dead, so you could well be questing in the lands between with an octopus just chilling out on your head. The next tip may seem incredibly obvious, but I didn't know for the longest time, so I hope I'm not alone. Let's say you're in this scenario, you've just killed a group of enemies, brilliant, now you have enough runes to level up. On the way, you open your map, you're like, oh, actually, where do I want to go next? Okay, gotcha. Now let's close the map, run to the site of Grace. We'll now level up, we'll exit the site of Grace, load up the map, boom, let's go. Did you know there is a much quicker way of doing this? You can load up the map whilst sat at a site of Grace. I told you it was simple, but oh my god, just imagine the amount of times you rest at a site of Grace, level up, cancel out of it, wait for your character to stand back up again, and then reopen the map. Add all of that up throughout your hundreds of hours of playtime. That is a lot of time wasted waiting for your character to fucking stand back up again. It blew my mind that you can open the map whilst resting at a site of Grace. Next, we'll be heading through the subterranean shunning grounds. Obviously, once you've defeated Mohg and you have got to this first plank, you can just run down and follow the stairs down for the first section. However, because I'm naked with no weapons, I don't want to get caught by one of the frenzied enemies, so I'm just going to drop down to the wooden plank below. From here, carefully jump down again, and that was the hardest part. It's now so easy to get down to the bottom. Head down this plank, come to the wall on your left, and just carefully drop down onto the grave below. I do get stuck on an invisible ledge there and have to make a jump. You can just very carefully walk off. Next, line yourself up with the wall, run forward, not sprint, just run, and roll when you're on the edge. That will drop you down here. Now, face back the other way, hugging the wall again, run and jump. Again, just run, don't sprint. And finally, just run off down here. Again, no sprinting and no rolling required, just run off. And that's it, you've done. Just follow the stairs down and you are there. Just a very quick recap because it really is so simple. Drop down both of the planks when you first enter the area. Hug the left wall and walk off onto the tomb below. Parallel to the wall, run and roll. Once you land on this one, do a 180 and run and jump. And now simply run off and there you are. You're done. 3. It's so simple and easy to do, and hopefully you will no longer have any problems getting down to the 2 fingers. And whilst we're down here, that leads me perfectly onto the next tip. Obviously, the flames on the ground here are where Hyetta would be if you've completed her quest line. From there, facing the south wall, you'll see I can go through the 3rd pillar in. This is usually an illusionary wall. All you need to do is roll into it to reveal the passageway behind. As you're running down, there'll be a chest with an item you can grab. There'll be another illusionary wall. Smash your way through that, and you will find yourself at the top of the Deeproot Depths. You can now grab the root-facing cliff's Site of Grace, and you have a brand new way to access the Deeproot Depths. Depending on your progress route through the game, you can now access this location earlier than ever before. It's a bit of a scary way down from here, but you can use Torrent. So if you're comfortable with his movements, then having the ability to double jump down here is really, really good. Now let's have a look at another very missable set of items. I'm talking about the set of 6 Imp Heads. 2 of them are lootable, being the Imp Head Elder and the Imp Head Corpse. However, the other 4 are very rare drops. You see me here farming for the Imp Head Long-Tongued, as it's the only one that my 100% playthrough character doesn't have yet. And this is the only area in the game where you can grab this one. All 6 of these helmets have pretty good stats, though they are quite heavy. But what sets them apart is every single one will give you +2 to a specific stat. In fact, there are only 8 stats in the game, and there are 6 Imp Heads, so the only 2 stats that cannot receive a buff from the Imp Heads are Vigor and Mind. And that leads me to believe that there may be 2 more Imp Heads coming in the DLC, one that will buff Vigor and one that will buff Mind, for a complete set of 8. As I say, 2 of these are just picked up, the other 4 need to be farmed, but it's a great set of helmets to have because each of them will complement your build in one way or another. Plus, Fashion Souls is always a plus, and they look ridiculous and amazing all at the same time. Next up is basically just the entirety of the Lake of Rot. Now armed with your new knowledge of Rot, hopefully you can go in and feel much more comfortable tackling the lake, because there are so many incredible items hidden off in every corner of this area. Loads of really high level smithing stones and even more Aeonian butterflies, which are an incredibly rare resource. In fact, the only way to infinitely get Aeonian butterflies is to farm basilisks, and the drop rate is pitiful. So scour the Lake of Rot, grab all the goodies that it has to offer you. You will not be disappointed. Next up, we have got a pair of Stormhawk Axes that are very easily missable. If you do want to complete every single NPC questline, please do not kill Nepheli. You can still get and dual wield 2 Stormhawk Axes. And if you're wondering why this is important, I did a video on this previously where I covered a Stormhawk Axe build guide. So you can go and check that out if you want to show you the power of these weapons. Now that you know that they're worth looting, let's find out 2 really easy ways to grab them. Firstly, in Lanedell, in the fortified manor, from the ground floor here, you can literally open this door on your right, go through into the courtyard, avoiding the Virgin Abductors, and grab yourself your first Stormhawk Axe. The next one is a little bit later in the game, in the mountaintops of the Giants. Specifically, it's in Castle Sol. You just have to make your way to this tower, avoid the exiles shooting at you with their giant ballista on the way, then you can hop on top of this structure, and over the wall on the balcony will be your second Stormhawk Axe. Next, we're going to head into the Sellia Hideaway. So start heading back to the church, and when you get to the gravesite, you'll be confronted with this battle mage enemy. Take him out, and then pretty much directly north on the other side of the large gravestone, you can hit this invisible wall and you'll be in the Sellia Hideaway. Now, as I say, at this point, this is not secret. It's needed as part of Sellen's questline. That is not the reason I'm including this in this list. There are 2 very rare pieces of loot in here that are still missable even when you know about this cave. So let's go in. Now that we're here, this cave can be quite confusing, so I'm going to leave in the run until we get to the second part of the Crystal Cave, which is where we need to be. That has given me time to get into the second chamber of the Sellia Hideaway, and over in the right hand corner here you can smash this illusionary wall, and in this chest you can get the crystal spear. We're not done quite yet though. Retrace your steps just a little bit, and then you can jump over onto this second crystal and head towards the southwest. Drop down this hole and take out the sorcerers, and you'll be rewarded with the Crystallian Ashes, which I think could well be the most missed spirit ashes in the game. This is a very simple one. Once you have access to the academy and you go through this first door, you will obviously be faced with a sorcerer at the end of the room, and as you charge over to them, a few marionettes will drop and start attacking you as well. Once they've all been dealt with, come back to the start of the room, and facing inwards, this room will be on your right hand side. There is another illusionary wall here. There isn't much in it, you can just grab a rune arc, but this is so unsuspecting. It's so surprisingly well hidden. You would not believe the amount of people that had no idea of this wall's existence when I first posted it in the Things You Missed series, so I thought it really deserved to be highlighted here. There are many rare finds in the Raya Lucaria Academy. A couple that I considered sharing were one or two of the harder to obtain glintstone masks or the Radagon icon, and admittedly they are cooler than just another rune arc, but I feel like they're nowhere near as hidden as this. I think a lot more people know the location of Radagon's icon than this sneaky little rune arc, so for that it had to go on this list. For this next one, progress through the mountaintops of the giants as you usually would, until you get here with the massive makeshift bridge and all the fire monks and the fire prelate. Head right and double back on yourself underneath this mountain, and you can enter into the giants' mountaintop catacombs. We are here for an incredibly hard to reach spirit ash. Just keep going through the dungeon as normal until you get to this first lift. Go down with it, and then once you get here, send it back up and wait. Now you can step on this platform and it will take you down into the depths. Down here are two incredibly powerful watchdog enemies. I'm just going to avoid the first one because with the magic splash damage he deals, it is ridiculous. Next up, you'll have to face two of the frost trap statues, and when you finally manage to make it past both of them, you will be faced with another watchdog. However, this one is nowhere near as powerful as the other one. Behind this watchdog, you can open up the chest and you'll be rewarded with the Fire Monk Ashes. I personally feel this may be the most secret spirit ashes in the game because you need to take a hidden lift and then fight your way through many traps and powerful enemies. And after all that effort, I have never even used them. Does anyone here have any thoughts and opinions on the Fire Monk Ashes? Are they worth using? I'm sure 99% of people know by now, if you would like a few quick levels early game, you can get yourself here to Fort Faroth in Caelid and just wail on this dragon from the rear with a bleed weapon, and you'll be able to bank yourself up to 100,000 runes if you're also using the gold pickled Foulfoot. However, did you also know, when she dies, if you sprint back to the site of grace on Torrent, you will have enough time to rest up and cancel the death animation. You won't get the full amount of runes because it won't also grant you the runes from her 5 babies, but as you can see here, even without using the gold pickled Foulfoot or the gold scarab, I still earned 50,000 runes, and now I can repeat and recycle this as many times as I want. If I'm also using extra rune buffs, I could get upwards of 70,000 runes per clear. And if you are struggling with the early game, you can easily get here and farm this dragon to get yourself to around level 40 or 50 very quickly and easily, and then you'll be able to deal with Limgrave and Stormvale much more manageably. And that's it for this one, my friends. How many did you get? And what's your favourite most missed thing in the game? Please let us all know in case we missed it as well. And if this is well received, I may even do a part 2, as I do already have a few more things I'd love to share with you. However, for now, all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.